It's got
siding.
a slate siding and asbestos.
How long has Mr. Rogers been asking you to fix up the property?
He didn't ask me at all. I got a letter. It has not been tagged for contaminate or condemned. I had a letter put on my building.
It even had the wrong address. It's
Yeah, at the wrong
1010 instead
address
of
as
1012.
of March 16th, and we've been working on it since then.
Have you done any improvements since March 16th?
No, I haven't
We have
done
been
any
taking
improvements
some
because we
stuff
planned
out.
on tearing it down, but I need more time. I will take and spend some money on shoring it up so it's safe until we do get it emptied.
Have you put in any money in it since March 16th?
Have we put any money in
gas
it?
and
No.
Gas
But
to
we
haul
keep the
stuff
lawn.
away.
Yeah, we keep the lawn. It's not in disarray.
Anyone else, council? Any other questions here?
Tip, I don't necessarily have a question for them, so if,
No, we'll talk to Kenny here.
okay.
Well, when you say 2 or 3 months, is it 2 months or 3 months? If I said, give me a concrete timetable for when you plan to have that down, what is it?
Well, in the letter that we received,
Said 10 days.
no,
Well.
it did not say it had to be taken down. It said it had to be repaired or it had to be demolished.
Okay. Well, you
We
said
do
you
not
mentioned-
plan on repairing it at this time.
Right, you plan on taking it down.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, what is your
But in order to
timetable
make
for
it
taking
safe,
it
we
down?
would do enough temporary repairs, to keep it safe.
Well, I would hope that would be done fairly quickly. What I'm asking is the timetable for taking it down.
30 days?
No, it's gonna take longer than 30 days.
How much longer?
That's up to you, buddy.
Well,
My only concern is typically the city will take it down, and then the property is assessed, whatever the cost of demolition. So I don't understand where you said something about the city sign it over and they'll take it down. That's,
No, what Mr. Rogers explained to me is.
you could
that-
sign it over
to
and we
the
would
city,
take care of it.
and then they would take it. They would do the cost of having the demolition done so that it could be sold and put back into property tax as
Okay.
a structure.
Because there is
But-
an adjacent lot to it that can't be built on right now.
But I guess the question I have, I know of 2 or 3 other homes that have been, the condemned sign's been on them for over 9, 10 months, and not a damn thing's been done to them.
and I don't know what properties you're speaking of, but
Well, and I can get a list. I can get a list.
I understand there are properties that are being taken care of, some by the city, some by other resources.
Well, I know one that's on Green Street that's been over 10 months. And the person that called about it was told that the city couldn't do anything until 8 months after it had the condemned poster.
Okay, I think
And
what
she works for me.
I think what we're going to do here is, it's time to talk to Kenny Rogers here.
That's fine.
And I'll give you a chance to come back if you want.
That's fine.
But Kenny Rogers, I'd like to have a response.
And Mayor, may I
Ma'am.
ask, did we ever get their name?
Well, I wasn't sure, but I know we will.
Okay,
I did
thank you.
not call for it. You are right. Yes, Kenny?
Okay, basically, I've been kind of dealing with this particular property off and on for the 12 years that I've been doing this job, been in this position. The property, it's my understanding, and Steve can probably comment on it a little bit better than I can, but it's my understanding the property's been sitting there basically abandoned for a number of years, other than the fact that it's being used for storage. And I don't know if there was ever an agreement made prior to my employment, whether or not that was okay to do that. It's something normally that is not allowed for a residential property just to be used typically for nothing more than storage. But over the course of the 12 years that I've been here, we have received a number of complaints. Mr. and Mrs. Hari, I believe is how you pronounce her last name, used to live next door to this property. Admittedly, every time we received a complaint, a notice was sent to their property, and they responded to that complaint. Unfortunately, it took a notice to take care of that problem. rather than being done on a full-time basis. The last time that I had to deal with the property, it was learned that they had moved and living over in Illinois. So that's where the certified letter went to and was returned to my office unaccepted. So at that point in time, since I certainly can't go to Illinois and try to deliver it myself, the notice was posted on the property itself and photographed for abatement or repair. That's a standard notice. I mean, certainly people have an option to demolish or repair. They have to decide which course of action they choose to take. There were a few conversations, phone conversations with Mrs. Hari after the notice was posted on the building, at which time a copy of that notice was sent regular mail, and she had contacted the office to discuss the issue with me. There was never any conversation or reference what it would take to shore up the building, and that wouldn't be up to me because I'm not a contractor. So there was some conversation as far as what they planned on doing with the building, and she basically indicated at that time that her husband had quite a lot of storage in the property, and that she would talk to him and start making arrangements to remove the storage first, and also take care of some of the nuisances that was complained on. During the course of these phone conversations, I mean, every time I had a conversation with her, Mrs. Hari, she indicated that, well, give me a couple more days and I'll call you back. Or, I'll call you back by next Wednesday. Other than the initial phone call, our office never received one phone call. Every phone call was made by me in attempt to try to take care of the property without having to take it to this point. There was a brief conversation with Mrs. Hari on the phone as far as some different options. She asked if the property could be burned down by the fire department. Again, there was some possibilities there, but that would not be up to me. But I indicated to her that I would do the footwork on that and contact the fire department. That ended up not being a viable option at that particular time. I know of the small non-buildable lot next door to this particular property, and certainly without making any promises, because I wasn't in a position to do so, but I give her another option if they was interested in possibly turning that over to the city, that I would certainly talk to the folks that would make that decision, that would just simply be another option. And never really got a response on that either. So it finally got to the point where I just put it on city council agenda for resolution for demolition because I haven't heard anything else on the property.
So if we gave approval tonight to take it down, contractor would be notified, and it's gonna be probably 2 weeks before it could come down, 2 weeks, maybe 3 on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. It could go a little bit quicker, mainly because we have no utilities on that property. Sometimes that's a little bit of a time frame problem with scheduling. We have to have all the utilities properly disconnected. There's no utilities there. So that one's pretty much open to the contractor's schedule. So that one could go fairly rapidly.
Okay.
It is certainly a risk at this point, huh? You agree with?
Oh, yes, yes.
How big is the property? How big?
Well, it's an older two-story home.
Pictures here. See the
Probably 1,400 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, the total living area is listed as 848 square feet. And then 728 square feet basement area. So,
Just to clarify, those costs are then assessed to the property, or do we absorb those costs?
well, after the demolition is conducted, if we take care of that, then a bill for those services would be sent to the property owner.
Okay.
And it would be their responsibility to take care of those services that were provided if they intend on keeping the property. If it's not paid, then it gets assessed back to the property.
Okay.
Further questions or comments?
I guess I personally, I'd be willing to give them 30 days to get it cleaned up, but if it's not done in 30 days and ready to be taken down, and they have a contractor lined up to take it down on that 30th day, then the city will take over and notify the contractor that he's got 2 weeks. And so in basically 45 days, this property will be taken care of either by the property owner, or if they don't get it done in 30 days, that 31st day, the city takes over the demolition, and the property owner would be charged back the cost of all demolition and costs associated with the removal of the property.
I think I would go along with that, Phil, also. Well, the thing that amazes me that we have your attached notes is when you started in March of this year documenting some of the conversations, but what it actually has gone on, like 12 years, you said, with this issues with this property. And so now the homeowners are concerned about what's left in there as storage, yet they've had all this time to have it removed if they wanted to. But for the benefit of the doubt, if we would want to give them 30 days to remove what's inside, and if they don't do as instructed, then it is ours. But it does amaze me that they haven't taken action before now if it's all that important.
I would like to address that.
Under the podium.
Are you done?
I had one more question.
I'm sorry, I'll call on you in just a moment.
So Kenny, you had characterized this as for many years did you say they did comply with your request, but it's been more like this last several months where you're having a hard time getting any response?
It's been a little bit longer than several months, and I really don't know exactly when they moved over to Illinois, but when we started getting other complaints about weeds and some junk and junk vehicles being on the property, and certainly I had to do some tracking to find out where they moved to and got an address. We sent them that notice, the certified mail, as we would if they were still living next door, and that one just went unclaimed and we got it back.
It could have been maybe the last year that you're having a hard time.
Well,
Yes.
if I could add to that, though, your memo states that it's been posted for no occupancy since January of 2009. So it's been, isn't that, am I the right one?
No, you're on the next one down.
Now, this,
Somebody wants to go forward.
and this property never actually got posted for no occupancy.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
It's simply one of those properties that there was no need to waste that sticker because it was obvious that it could not be occupied.
Oh,
So it was not posted, just the appropriate notices were sent out.
so it cannot be occupied.
That's correct. And a property doesn't necessarily have to have a no occupancy posting as a condemned property in order to receive a notice of this type, because there's the option on that notice for demolition or repair. But when you really don't have any other further abilities to take care of anything, after the phone calls and all the phone calls I was making, and I just didn't have the time to keep dealing with one particular property.
Okay, anyone else here? Before I call for a vote, I'll give you another couple minutes here. You did not state your names.
My name is Vicky Hari,
How do you spell that last name?
H-A-U-R-Y.
Okay.
What Mr. Rogers forgot to tell is we also own the 2 adjoining lots that we have a house on at 1010 East 3rd. And it has not been abandoned. And why he called me was because when we spoke, he said, I will call you in a day or 2. The last time he called me, I was in a convention at Omaha, Nebraska for my company. And I explained to him at that time, he needed to call my husband. I was out of town. And he went, no, I'll wait till you get back. That was the last time I heard from him. And in this letter, it says it can be tore down or it can be repaired. So I don't know how he can say that it cannot be lived in, because yes, it could be repaired. And if you give me 30 days, then I'll repair the,